can we just get your take on the key moments of that race? 4 wide into turn 1, first of all, then that battle with Max and the penalty that followed.
Yeah, so it was fun at the start and didn't end up the way I'd hoped, but that's motor racing.
We heard you say over the radio just no grip at all when you were rejoining the track. I guess not much more you could have done in that situation.
No, I mean, it's very, very dirty offline, and did the best I could to keep the car or bring it back to the track safely, and so I could hope for.
It's so tough to overtake here, of course, after that. But what can you take from the weekend as a whole? Still some positives?
Yeah, got some points at least.
Thank you, Lewis.
Lewis Hamilton left Mexico furious, and for good reason. His best weekend yet, with Ferrari turned upside down after a harsh 10-second penalty. The incident, a tense wheel-to-wheel fight with Verstappen that reignited an old rivalry. As the lights went out, the Ferrari SF-25 launched like it had something to prove. Hamilton's reflexes, sharpened by 2 decades of battles, were perfect. He held his line into turn 1, threading the chaos like a surgeon. Around him, younger drivers fought like it was a brawl. Hamilton treated it like chess. He stayed clean, stayed efficient, stayed alive. For a few glorious laps, Ferrari's dream shimmered in the Mexican sun, Hamilton running third, within striking distance of the lead, his rhythm steady, his confidence electric. This, everyone thought, was the turning point. But Formula One doesn't hand out happy endings easily. On lap 6, it all changed. Verstappen appeared in his mirrors, a familiar sight, a familiar tension. 2 giants of the sport, 2 generations colliding once again. They went side by side into turn 1, no room for both, no margin for error. The contact was light, but the consequence was brutal. Hamilton locked up, bounced over the curb, and sliced through the grass before rejoining the track. He kept it straight, he kept control, but in those few seconds, the stewards had already made up their minds. 10 seconds. A lifetime in racing terms. When the penalty came over the radio, the disappointment was audible. That's bullshit, man. There was no grip there. Not rage, frustration. A statement from a man who's seen this pattern before, who knows that sometimes Formula One is not just about speed, but politics, perception, and power. Yet after that one outburst, silence. Hamilton reset his mind. Anger wouldn't fix the race. Only performance could. What followed was 20 laps of pure defiance lap times within a tenth of the leaders, precision in every corner, and a demonstration of why he's still the gold standard. From the moment Hamilton arrived in Mexico, you could feel the difference. Ferrari's paddock energy was sharp, confident, not arrogant, but quietly focused. For the first time all season, the SF-25 felt like a proper Ferrari, balanced, quick, and alive in Hamilton's hands. He looked composed in every session, controlling the rear instability that had haunted the car in the high-speed sections of Suzuka and Austin. When he qualified third on Saturday behind Norris and Leclerc, there was a familiar spark in his eyes, not relief, but purpose. This wasn't nostalgia. This was intent. The kind of intent only a 7-time champion can carry after years of reinvention. The start was everything a Ferrari fan had dreamed of. As the 5 lights went out, Hamilton's reaction was flawless. He held off Piastri, stayed tucked behind Leclerc, and avoided the first corner chaos that swallowed half the midfield. In the opening laps, he looked like the Hamilton of old, precise, smooth, and terrifyingly efficient. The SF-25's traction in Mexico's thin air wasn't perfect, but Lewis compensated through pure feel. He was reading the car through the tires, balancing every movement with millimetric control. "Car feels good, mate," he said calmly on lap 4. Ferrari smiled. The podium seemed inevitable, until it wasn't. Lap 6 turn 1, a moment that rewrote the weekend. Verstappen had closed the gap, hunting like a shadow. The Red Bull dived deep on the inside, a move as aggressive as it was desperate. Hamilton held firm, but in the dirty air and the unpredictable grip of the Mexican surface, the two made light contact. It wasn't dramatic, but it was decisive. Lewis was forced wide across the grass, bouncing back onto the asphalt just ahead of Verstappen. He kept the car straight, kept the position, and continued racing. For anyone watching, it was hard, fair competition, the kind that defines the sport. But for the stewards, it was a violation. Within minutes, the message flashed: car 44 10-second penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. The Ferrari pit wall froze. It felt unfair, even cruel. The telemetry showed that Hamilton hadn't accelerated during his off-track excursion. He'd simply fought to stay alive on a surface with no grip. Yet the rules are unforgiving, and interpretation is everything. His engineer, Riccardo Adami, broke the news over the radio. "Lewis, we've got a 10-second penalty for leaving the track." The response was immediate cutting, but controlled. "That's bullshit, man. There was no grip there." It wasn't anger, it was truth. The raw, unfiltered reaction of a racer who knows when he's been judged harshly. Then silence. Within seconds, Hamilton switched focus. He didn't argue. He didn't complain. He recalibrated. "All right, let's keep going." That moment captured what separates him from the rest. The ability to process injustice and transform it into focus. That's Hamilton's superpower. His telemetry after the penalty told a story of determination. He didn't overdrive, didn't let frustration distort his rhythm. Instead, he tightened his lines, minimized tire slip, and began a methodical comeback. Every braking zone was identical. Every corner exit controlled. It was as if he had taken the chaos of the penalty and turned it into a driving meditation. The pit wall noticed it immediately. "He's still on target pace," said Adami quietly. Vasseur just nodded. This was Lewis in his purest form, precise, relentless, untouchable under pressure. When Ferrari arrived in Mexico, they knew the circuit would expose every weakness of the SF-25. The thin air, the altitude, and the heat are a cruel test for any machine. The engineers had spent weeks recalibrating the cooling systems, adjusting the drag-to-downforce ratio, and refining the hybrid deployment strategy. But no simulation could prepare them for the chaos of race conditions. And yet, through all that uncertainty, Hamilton made the SF-25 feel composed. In Friday practice, while others struggled with tire graining, he managed lap after lap within 2/10 of perfection. "He's driving around the car's flaws," said one of the aerodynamicists. That's the thing about Hamilton, he doesn't fight the car. He studies it, adapts, and redefines its limits. The penalty changed everything. Ferrari's original plan had been elegant in its simplicity. Start on the mediums, extend the first stint, and undercut Norris after lap 25. When the 10-second penalty arrived, the entire equation collapsed. Serving it during the pit stop meant that the rhythm of the race, that delicate balance of tire, wear, fuel load, and traffic was destroyed. Most drivers in that situation overdrive. They push too hard too soon, overheating tires, losing patience. But Hamilton went the other way. He recalibrated instantly, treating the SF-25 like a laboratory. "We'll go long," he said on the radio. "Let's learn something from this." That simple line summed up why Ferrari needed him. Even in frustration, he was thinking development, not damage control. The data that came out of Mexico shocked Ferrari's engineers. Hamilton's average degradation per lap on the medium tire was 0.03 seconds, less than half that of his teammate, and among the lowest of any driver that afternoon. It wasn't just skill, it was understanding. He manipulated the brake balance and torque map throughout the stint to keep the rear tires alive in the thin Mexican atmosphere. The telemetry showed constant micro-adjustments, brake bias shifts, differential tweaks every lap, small but perfectly timed. It was like watching a musician retune his instrument mid-performance without missing a note. That kind of precision comes only from years of instinct married with experience. "It's like he's inside the car's brain," said Fred Vasseur afterward, half in awe, half in disbelief. But beyond the numbers, there was something more subtle happening. Ferrari's engineers were learning from Hamilton in real time. The feedback he provided during the race, short, clear, always purposeful, revealed aerodynamic inconsistencies that had puzzled the team for weeks. His comments about rear instability in the mid-corner phase led to a post-race discovery, a minor imbalance in the diffuser's airflow channels that went undetected in simulations. "Lewis reads airflow the way others read telemetry," one engineer joked after the race. It wasn't just a compliment, it was the truth. He can feel what the sensors miss. That's why the debriefs with him last hours, every detail matters, every instinct is backed by reason. Inside the Ferrari garage, that attitude has begun to change the culture. Where once there was tension and second-guessing, there's now curiosity and collaboration. Hamilton doesn't impose his will, he guides it. In Mexico, when the engineers questioned the decision to stretch the middle stint to 30 laps, Lewis reminded them calmly, "Trust the temps, not the delta. The tires are holding." He was right. His lap times barely dropped, and the tires came back to life after the heat cycle. That ability to read tire behavior under such extreme altitude conditions impressed even Pirelli's representatives. It's the kind of instinct that can't be simulated, it's lived. Ferrari's young mechanics, many of whom grew up watching him dominate in silver, now see him teaching them in red. That's not just adaptation, that's leadership. By the end of the race, Ferrari had more than just data, they had direction. The SF-25 was never meant to be a car that suited Hamilton perfectly, but he's forcing it to evolve. The engineers now have proof that with his driving style smooth on entry, progressive on throttle, ruthless on consistency, the car's weaknesses can be minimized. It's no coincidence that after the race, Vasseur told reporters, "Lewis has given us the map to our own car." That's the hidden story of Mexico. Behind the penalty, behind the frustration, Ferrari discovered something invaluable. They have a driver who not only drives the car fast, but helps them rebuild it from the inside out. And that's why even when the scoreboard says 8th, everyone inside that red garage knows Hamilton is already winning.